Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Whole lot of juice. Previously on Kimba TV. So I have like 11.9 mil S&P short. Pixel perfect. Look at how many times I've been trying my S&P short. 12 million. For 2 weeks I've been trying a $12 million S&P short. It's got to be test net. Okay, and that line has been there for quite some time too. So yeah, if I'm already thinking like if this needs to get cleaned and if this isn't the high, then I'm already looking at this one next. The math's been so right though, chat. Let's go. It's too easy. Try on these hoes. Math. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Can't make it up. Can't make it up. How we doing? How we doing, chatters? Any questions? Once again, everything talked about since last week. Shout out Azaz. If we're gonna actually get above key level, then forget the RTH gap. It's gonna be this next one around like 56.50. Okay, and that line has been there for quite some time too. So yeah, if I'm already thinking like if this needs to get cleaned and if this isn't the high, then I'm already looking at this one next. That's a cut. Pixel. Quit playing with me. How we doing? Everything planned out. I'm just sticking to my plans. Preparation meeting opportunity. That's how we juice, chat. You just can't make this shit up. Let's get it. Can't lose, chat. Ka-chia! Let's go. It's too easy. Because we're talking about it before we do it, chat. Ka-chia on him. Let's go, chat. Math and data, ho. Let's go, chat. Can't lose, chat. Easy money, chat. How the fuck is that even possible, chat? Andre says, took a long on the Kimba box. Okay. Andre says, pray for me. I don't even know what Kimba box you're talking about. Are you talking about sweep or keep? I wouldn't be longing up here, but if you remember what we talked about, the kid that makes my fucking caramel macchiato at the Starbucks across the street is shorting here. So yeah, I don't know if 96 is. I think everyone's gonna get ran over. So for me, you see the red line, the useless Kimba's lines. That's kind of what I would prefer. So yeah, you might be able to get away with it, but I think it's just context, It's hard for me to like, if you've been watching me, like we were trying to long this. I was trying to long this. It's hard for me to try to long here. Yeah, so if you remember, like we were trying to long all of this. And we were trying to long all of this. And we would have loved one more to get it. But yeah, I mean, as somebody that was like trying to long here, it's hard for me to try to long here. This is like where I'm looking for this. So yeah, but point of control, value area low, value area high. So it's really just a matter of how you want to play this. Normal, value area high, point of control, value area low. How do you want to play that? So is it going to be like this? Or is it going to be like this? Good job. Hear it. Yo-Yo Lion says, explain please, sir. Well, have both of you started trading though? Gucci Romo says, I thought the USD pair was how they scam pumping and dump. So I was watching that this week to try and gather more sample size. Yes, so you're correct. But what that tells me is that you didn't comprehensively understand thoroughly what I was trying to explain, Gucci Romo. Would you like me to explain one more time? Let me see if maybe I can explain it again and it clicks for you. When you sign up for an exchange and you're getting ready to trade, right? And you're getting ready to deposit crypto into an exchange, you have two options, right? You can either send the coin itself, so you can deposit ETH, you can deposit Bitcoin, right? You can deposit XRP, you can deposit Link, or you can deposit stable coins. You can deposit USDT. How many of you guys trade on coin margined contracts, which means you are depositing the coin itself and you're using that as margin, hence the name coin margined contracts? How many of you guys are depositing USDT or stable coin? I don't care if it's USDT, USDC, BUSD, whatever. But how many of you guys are depositing stable coin and entering into stable coin margined contracts? And here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. When you enter into a stable coin margined contract, meaning you have deposited stable coin and you're using that stable coin as margin, okay? When you open a long or a short, and when you TP that long or a short, what currency do you get paid for your profit? So if you enter a stable coin margined contract and you TP a long or short, you get paid in the stable coin, right? If you deposit USDT, you open you have margined contracts with USDT. You use that USDT. You close that USDT trade, you get paid in USDT, right? When you enter a coin margined contract, so you have deposited Bitcoin, XRP, ETH, you open a coin margin contract using that coin as margin, okay? You TP the long or short. It doesn't matter if it's a long or short. You TP that coin margin contract, you get paid in coin margined. So the coin that you coin margined, which would be the Bitcoin. So what we have seen, ladies and gentlemen, all right, is how many of you guys have seen on Twitter like a whale alert? 5 million stablecoin went to Binance. 50,000 Bitcoin went to Bitfinex. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys have seen like those whale alerts, like, 100,000 ETH went to this exchange. Did you know that you can use on-chain analytics to see if it went to the spot side of the exchange or the derivative side of the exchange? Isn't that cool? Now, if you move 50,000 Bitcoin to spot, on spot, you cannot open leverage contracts. You can sell it. That's it. If you move 50,000 Bitcoin to spot, the only thing that you can do with that is sell it. So if you see a tweet or an alert that says 50,000 Bitcoin, 100,000 ETH, 500,000 Link got deposited or transferred into this exchange, you can use a tool like CryptoQuant, see if it went to the spot side or derivative side, right? If it went to spot, that's bearish. So if you ever see coins moving to a spot side or a spot exchange, it's bearish because the only thing that they can do is sell. Have they ever deposited it and then done a psych or a, quickly withdrawn it out and not actually sold? Rarely. There's been occasions where they might move 50,000 or 75,000 Bitcoin and they'll sell 40,000 of it and then they'll withdraw the rest. There's never been a scenario where they move a whole shit ton, and I'm talking about like $25-50 million worth, and not sell it. Okay, you guys with me so far? But don't take my word for it. This is all historical data that you can see for yourself. And not only that, but start keeping track of this moving forward. Okay, but and then so if you see like 50 million getting transferred into an exchange and you figure out that it was a spot side or the spot exchange, then you know that it's bullish, because the only thing that you can do is buy. Okay, you can't open leverage positions on the spot side of the exchange. And so coins going to spot exchange, bearish. Stable coins going into spot exchange, bullish. I think that's common sense, okay? Don't take my word for it. Start keeping track of these things yourself. See it for yourself. Now, the question is, okay, Kimba, well, what if it goes to the derivative side? How do I know if they're opening longs or what they're doing? Well, isn't that what something like exocharts or Coinalyze is for? So by you looking at open interest, you're going to be able to tell when they start using that and putting it into margin, right? If they start using those coins or stable coins, you're going to see the coin margin contracts open interest or the stable coin margin contracts open interest go up or down, right? And depending on if they're getting absorbed or running into exhaustion, aka a CVD bullish divergence or a CVD bearish divergence, you can use that as edge. Okay, so there is no, I don't know what they're doing. Some people will be like, yo, these guys move this many coins and they're opening longs. And I'm looking at Exo and I'm like, you're dead ass wrong. They're opening shorts. What do you mean they're opening longs? Are we looking at the same shit? So the data is the data, the math is the math. You guys with me? So here's a really cool trick that we have seen market makers do many, many times. What market makers like to do is they like to deposit coin margin contracts. Coins, right? And they open coin margin contracts. So if you deposit Bitcoin and you get coin margined contracts, meaning you're using that Bitcoin as margin, okay? What happens when you TP your long? What do you get paid in? Lion Cubs. If you deposit Bitcoin, you open a coin margined contract, so you're using that Bitcoin as the margin, okay? And you TP that long. What do you get paid? You get paid in that coin. You get Bitcoin. And guess what the market makers will then do? They'll take that Bitcoin that they just got, they'll transfer it over to the spot side, and they start dumping that on spot. Isn't that crazy? Does that make sense? So that's a classic pump and dump. Does that make sense? So they don't have to deposit Bitcoin to sell. They fucking took your shit and they're selling it right back to you at the top. This is how you can start with a little tweet that says 50,000 Bitcoin got deposited into this exchange. Use a tool like CryptoQuant, figure out if it went to derivatives or spot. Watch the open interest to see when they start using it and where. Okay, is the open interest on net longs or net shorts opening, right? And last but not least, are they going against the trend or are they helping the trend? Meaning, are they longing into a bull div Or are they shorting into a bear div? BTC does a bad high and S&P is dumping. It'll be a good short on BTC. Okay, so you're asking even if BTC leaves a bad high, if S&P is dumping, could it be a short attempt? Sure. You just need to understand that you need to be aggressive with your stop loss and profit because the chances of that bad high getting swept, for example, social net money. If Bitcoin has a bad high and S&P is dumping, and so Bitcoin follows suit, right? When, for example, would be a good time to clean that high and S&P isn't affected? Like Macaulay Culkin. So you have to be aware of the probabilities that you're going to get that cleaned. You're probably going to get round tripped. So maybe you get stopped out, or maybe they leave the bad high like that and you get away with one. And that's possible too, right? You're not in the business of predicting the future. So, yeah, like worst case scenario, you get round tripped, right? Or you shave on like lower low a little bit. You shave a little bit and then you get round tripped for the rest. And then you know that since it's a bad high, maybe you re-enter on a swing fail pattern. And then you know how to play a swing fail pattern, correct? So that's how like the decision tree, like, you know, if this happens, then I'm going to do this. And then, you know, you have these commands. You've got, if this happens, we're going to do this, this, this. And so like, it's like a decision tree, you know, like dink, dink, dink. Okay, this one, you know, and then this one is going to have 3 options, you know, and then we're going to go with the third one. And how could you have possibly predicted all of this? You know, you can't. So it's just step by step. And then if it holds like this, if it swing fails, if it changes structure, right? If the value level holds, structure, you know, lots of bottom shorts, the probability that, you know, when it broke, so watch. Let's say that this represents the chances of us going to 91. Okay, this represents the chances of us going to 91. So as soon as it does this, this went up a little bit. As soon as it did the bearish retest and it made a lower low, it went up a little bit more. As soon as it broke that low, it went up a little bit more. As soon as it made a SFP and you got a bunch of bottom shorts opening right here, like we saw. So like 30 mil, 18, 4.59. All right. So you have swing fail, that's structural edge. Open interest. And S&P doing the same thing. Your probability of getting 91 goes down. It gets back above value area low, it goes down even more. It does a bullish retest and it makes a higher high. It goes down even more. It does a bullish retest and changes structure. It goes down even more. And then once you break above here at this injunction right here, after it makes a higher high of the first attempt of the bearish retest, it's almost completely gone because you're now back above. And then you're going to be looking for this next. So all this is going to get cleaned. So that's the sweep or keep right there. All right. And then we talked about it for quite some time. I said everybody wants to short 96. I don't think 96 short is going to work. I rather short 98. We were waiting for 98. Still kind of waiting for that red line, perhaps. And that's it. So we're just trying to not get got, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And then for those of you that have been with me for the last couple of months, I mean, look at this shit. This is fantastic. I'm still sticking to my plan. Think about how long. I can't remember the first time I started talking about. I think 2025 is bullish. I'm gonna start selling off a bunch of liquid assets towards the end of the year, beginning of Q1 next year. I think beginning of Q1 next year is gonna start to be really bearish. Like that still is the same exact thing. And you know what the craziest part is? We're actually doing things with Bitcoin that I wouldn't have thought would have been possible without rate cuts. Maybe it doesn't even need a bearish retest. But so if you wanted to scalp, that's how you would do it. Deshorski. There's always a trade. Juicy, right? And then you know, you're thinking worst case scenario. So worst case scenario would be like another bearish retest, right? Probably something like that, most likely, if it was going to really be bearish. So if you have an entry right here, well, you know, did you shave a little bit and you're okay, or you're just going to wait there for the whole thing? All right, and that's it. So just understanding like that's the inval. You know, whether you took it right there or you took it right there, it doesn't really matter to me. Did you shave? Yes or no? Where's your stop loss? That's it. Can we give it up for that untested value area high that's been there for quite some time? Kachoya, kachoya. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Clearly, if you're bullish, you're not going to fuck with that no matter how many times I draw it, no matter how many times we've seen it live together, right? You're probably just hoping that it doesn't break. What about people looking for longs? You guys want to talk about where you could maybe scalp a long? Clearly VWAP, clearly fib, clearly single print. Yeah, I mean, whether it has to happen on Monday or not, you know that I would love to get like a 98 to 90, you know, rotate. Medi, you good? Chalub, you good? Banshee, you good? Sophia, Satoshi, Lucas, Jesse, Papink, Baratinha says, fuck yo VWAP, fuck yo couch. Well, here's the thing, Baratinha. Hey, you know we've got brothers and sisters in shorts. We've got brothers and sisters in longs, right? But when you saying that, we all know what you did. And I'm rooting for you, brother. But promise me this, Baratinha, you can't lose, right? Everybody that's in a short right now, if it bounces off of VWAP, and if anybody takes a loss on their short right now when it bounces off of VWAP, you got to be a fucking idiot. So show me you know what you're doing, which usually just means you got to be managing risk. You got to be thinking worst case scenario. You got to concede, you know, and understand that we're retail. So the most high probable thing that's going to happen, we're going to get round tripped. So City RS says won't even get to VWAP. This man is bullish as fuck. Well, if you think that it's going to hold value area low, the reason why I would say value area low is probably not going to be holding, and it would be better to try to get the VWAP. I mean, we're talking about fucking $60, by the way, so that's kind of, you know, who gives a fuck? But, yeah, you can tell that, like, when it's doing something like this, when it's doing that, VWAP is the one you want to go with, not value area low. It's going to have a little bit more weight. Alrighty. Man9 says, hey, Kimba, what do you think about 89K harmonic pattern? Look, I feel like with harmonics, with Elliott waves, it's really subjective, and you're always going to be able to find a narrative that you want. So I've heard about the 89K harmonic. I've heard about the 98 shark. Like, we can all see it. So I don't really use those shapes that much. But sure, yeah, like I think, 90K breaching would be fucking hilarious. On derivatives, I'm probably going to have to get like an 88 long. Right, Man9? It's probably going to look like an 88.4, 88.6. Yeah, I would love like 98.6. 88.6. That's a $10,000 move. Ros says, I got a perfect top short, but my stop loss and profit too early. I really need to work on that. I got you. I bet I know what you did. You got stopped out on that 7.5 or the golden pocket, yeah? Did you get stopped out right here? Okay, so Arroz, that's kind of, you could debate both cases. In my opinion, you actually didn't do anything wrong. I get stopped out on goofy shit like that all the time. Okay? But what I think you want to maybe think about is you need to be thinking about if you get round tripped or stopped out, if you're going to take a second attempt. What would allow you, give you confidence to take that second attempt? Okay? I'll get stopped out there a lot, brother, and I won't re-enter. But you know how I play this? I take this, what we just explained live. So what I would recommend is if you get stopped out right there, really think about this one. Because the invalidation is kind of, here's the thing. Let's say, for example, I don't know what your entry was, but taking the 7.5 here, stop loss here, almost identical to here and here. It's a little bit bigger, but at least on here, you have a little bit higher probability. Because you lost the golden pocket. So now it reset bullish momentum, and so the bulls have to gain it back. So you gain that 1%, 2% to your edge. So yeah, that happens to me a lot, but Rose, that's why I had to adapt and kind of come up with this plan. And you'll notice if you've been watching the highlights for the last couple months, that's the short that I've been in a lot. So, I took a short when we lost the second low, so I'm okay. Just sad to not have the perfect top. That's okay. That's okay. But that's the real juice, Rose, is that 886618 or the 88675, the 75, the golden pocket turning into resistance. That's the real juice. So, because if I were to say, how much money do you think you're going to save from potential losses because you know that? Or how much money do you think you're going to make because you know that now? It's hard to put a number on that. It's priceless. Shut. Yeah, and like I said, man, just be careful because I really want that, and that's primed. I think for me, it's not really a matter of is that high going to get swept? It's a matter of when. So As you know, I don't really like to get into longs or shorts on Friday or really even on Thursday, even though this is okay. So if it's going to sweep, like, I would love it if it did it in the next 70 minutes. So the next hour and 9 minutes. But I don't know if I would want that SFP during power hour, and I don't think anything after RTHs. Well, I don't know. They be setting highs during ETH, so I guess I won't mind if it's during ETH. But let's at least get a nice tail. Because at this point, if you are going to try to short up there, brother, what you really want to see are top longs coming in. So Man9 says some stocks respect these harmonics pretty well, for sure. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, especially traditional finance, traditional markets, you know, things that you can quantify momentum for. You know, oh, they had good earnings. Oh, their earnings to revenue ratio is off, or the way that they do their accounting, or the way that they're considering this, booking these as profits now. You can clearly see like traditional data points that will help you with edge. With fucking degenerate crypto trading, I feel like it's just where people are trapped, where liquidity is, bing bong ding dong, clean stop loss hunts, etc. We'll see. The math is the math. It's not, again, if you are still playing this game about, I told you, I just said, you just said, you got to take it level by level. I don't know how many times I got to say it, but you can't predict the future, brother.
You just said.
All right? Cuz what if it does this? You're going to look like the idiot. You know? So like it's all context, brother. If it really was bullish, not only would you bounce from here, you would start changing structure. Just like how we explained. So let it do that, and then you can say, oh, it's not going to go there. But instead of predicting the future, just base it off of what we're all seeing together. Right? But I would say that this is pretty normal, is it not? I think it's pretty inconclusive as right now to say that we're going to hit it or we're not going to hit it. Instead of putting your money or putting value on being able to figure out if it's going to hit it or not, just be prepared. If it doesn't go there, or do you know how to play if you want to play along? If it does go there, do you know how to make sure that it's safe too long? That's it. And then you can just sit back, relax, and execute based off of what it does. Kachoy? I feel like it's a lot harder game that you're playing, trying to predict the future. How about just preparing for both sides? Yep. Kachoy! But let's see. I mean, we know what the book says in terms of what it would need to do to confirm a failed auction. So if it does it, it does it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we'll just keep reacting to it. But if it really is gonna be bullish at the point of control, then any sort of bullishness would mean things like it gets above this line. Okay, so time spent above this line would be Gucci Magucci. I don't know how many times you've seen something like this, where it'll actually come back in range again. So that's what I mean by you at the end of the day, like, you got to change structure. You know, where's the structure change? Yeah, and it can be a bitch sometimes, you know, like waiting for 30-minute candle closes, waiting to see if it's going to, have a candle close above or below. It can definitely make you miss on like the Pico perfect entry. But you should be going into the range understanding that if it is going to be bullish, you're going to be aiming for here. If it's going to be bearish, you're going to be aiming for here.
One thing
so
my trainer, he told me.
You should be able to put
said,
together like a nice risk reward.
He just told us to be prepared.
I wouldn't. Let's say, for example, I wanted to like long this. If I was going to scalp, dink, ba-pink, stop loss, and then that's what I would be aiming for, and this would be the representation of the scalp. But I don't really fuck around with scalps like that. If you wanted a short, this is already kind of fucked. You're already kind of like, you should have taken it higher. But Kimba, what if I do this? What if I do this? Because maybe it does this, Kimba. No. That's not right. That's not mathematical. Maybe it does this, Kimba. Maybe it does this. Now the risk reward is... No, stop it. $12 minutes left. Any last minute questions you guys want to talk about? I'm excited for Monday, ladies and gentlemen, because you know that we've got bad highs. We've got the VWAP. So I will probably take a shot on ETH if it is a swing fail. Even if it's a Friday, as long as it's a swing fail, I'll probably take it. You know I like that 98.6, 98.5. It's that untapped point of control. All right. And then beyond that, there's really a pretty big gap to like, what do you want to say? 104, right? 105. That 104. Yeah. Yeah, like all this is going to come into play. You know, right? I mean, it's level to level, so if it's not going to, then dink, 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 dink. Ka-choy on him. Hey, but regardless of what happens, right or wrong, bullish or bearish, we're going to do it together. I'm going to be here all day tomorrow, all day next week, every day. We're going to get this FOMC juice, chat. Let's get it. I'm so sick of fucking VWAP. Feel like I'm getting an allergic reaction every time I look at it. But it is what it is, man. Right? Hey, if this week hasn't convinced you that VWAP should be your TP1, I don't know what's going to convince you to shave. Even if it's like 2%, 5%, VWAP is for sure TP1, no matter what trade. Ladies and gentlemen, till next time, stay safe. Longers, I'm rooting for you. Shorters, I'm rooting for you. Bulls, bears, we're all lions. Help each other out. Root for each other. Poker details will be in the Discord. I'm going to restart the stream in about 4 or 5 hours. We're going to be debugging the new layout. I'll see you guys then. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Hey, Sato, tell them what happens if they don't use stop loss. Don't get got, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get got. Love you guys. Stay safe. Have a great night. Peace, everybody. Kachaya he reaving. Youngasuna he reaving.